I shouldn't have followed that trail. I know that now. But 2 weeks ago, when Noah dared me, I laughed it off. We were 4 stupid kids chasing a rumor through the Ironwoods Reserve me. Noah, Jace, and Lena. The rain had stopped only an hour earlier, and the whole forest was steaming, the air thick enough to chew. That's when we saw it. A narrow line cutting through the mud, glistening darker than anything else. It wasn't brown. It wasn't the color of wet earth. It was a deep, syrupy red with a metallic shine every time the flashlight hit it. I knelt down and touched it. It clung to my finger. The smell hit me a second later, raw, warm, and unmistakably bloody, like a butcher's floor after closing. We followed it anyway. Every step sunk into soft earth that felt too warm, almost body temperature, like the forest itself was breathing beneath us. The trees grew stranger the deeper we went, bark peeling in spirals, branches bent at impossible angles, as if twisted violently while still alive. Some trunks had long, vertical slashes that oozed sap the exact same color as the trail. Then we found the deer, or what was left of it. It lay in the middle of the trail, legs broken backwards, chest cavity split open like a cracked egg. Not torn by teeth, torn by ***. The ribs were bent outward, peeled open like fingers forcing something apart. The organs were gone, scooped out clean, leaving an empty, hollow chamber still steaming faintly. No head, no blood pool, just the smell thick enough to burn the back of my throat. Lena whimpered and covered her mouth. Jace whispered, "That's not fucking right." But the trail kept going, a fresh, wet ribbon of red stretching deeper into the dark. When the first scream came, it didn't sound like anything from this world. It echoed through the forest in layers, a scream inside a scream, as if multiple throats were pressed together and forced to cry out as one. The sound vibrated in my chest, made my bones buzz. Something exhaled behind us, the kind of slow, wet breath you hear inches from your neck in nightmares. We spun around. Nothing there, just fog drifting like smoke. We should have run home then. But fear makes you stupid. Fear makes you curious. By the time we made camp, the darkness felt thick, sticky. The fire didn't warm anything. It felt like even heat was afraid to spread here. Every now and then a drop of something hissed into the flames, a thick droplet that sizzled louder than water, leaving a charred black mark where it landed. Then Noah froze and pointed. Something was crawling from behind a fallen log. Arms first, impossibly long, elbows jutting out sideways, the skin stretched tight over them like wet paper. Then a torso, thin and hunched, ribs poking through in warped, uneven lines. It dragged itself toward us, belly scraping the dirt, making a sound like wet fabric being pulled across a countertop. It moved wrong, too smooth, too fast. The fire illuminated its face, or what was left of one. The lower half still had skin, torn and sagging, but the upper half was bare bone, skull carved with jagged lines, like someone had used a razor to etch symbols into it. Instead of eyes, 2 deep black sockets glistening with wetness inside, holes that seemed to inhale the firelight instead of reflecting it. Its jaw hung open so wide the tendons strained and quivered. Long strands of spit swung from one broken tooth to another. Lena screamed. The creature snapped toward her and lunged. It hit her like a thrown animal. Its hand, too long, too thin, wrapped around her throat, thumb pressing into the soft part beneath her jaw. Blood spurted instantly, running down its wrist. She kicked, clawed, choked, and then the thing tore her jaw clean off with a sound like ripping fabric. Her tongue flopped uselessly as she fell back, choking on blood pouring directly down her throat. Her scream was only a wet gargle. We ran. We left her. God help me, we just ran. The forest swallowed the sound of her dying. We didn't stop until we reached a clearing, a sunken pit in the earth. When Noah flashed his light into it, we saw pale shapes embedded in the mud walls. Mouths, dozens, maybe hundreds. Some small, some wide, some crooked. Human lips pressed into the chill, soil as if the ground had eaten them, preserved only that part. Teeth glimmered in the flashlight beam. Tongues twitched sluggishly like worms caught in drying mud. Some lips were still moving. Soft whispers floated up. Breaths that didn't come from lungs. Words formed without throats. My skin crawled so hard it felt like insects were burrowing beneath it. One whisper sounded like Lena, her voice, begging for help through lips that weren't attached to a body anymore. Before I could stop him, Noah slid into the pit, hands outstretched. He kept saying, "She's alive, she's alive, she's alive." The mud tightened around his legs. He screamed, not from fear, from pain. Something beneath the surface was pulling him under. I grabbed his arm. Jace grabbed the other. But Noah was sinking too fast, like hands beneath the mud were dragging him down. His nails tore bloody scratches into my forearm as he went under. Mud poured into his mouth. His scream cut off suddenly, replaced by dozens of new whispers rising from the pit. One of them sounded like him. We ran again. We stumbled through trees until the red trail thickened beneath our feet, fresh and sticky. It led us to the largest tree I've ever seen, a monstrous thing with a trunk split open like a gaping wound. Inside the split, something wet beat slowly. Not sap, not wood, flesh, a mass of muscle pulsing like a living heart. A heartbeat echoed in the clearing, too loud, too strong, vibrating the soil under my shoes. The smell pouring out was unbearable. Blood, rot, sweat, and something sweet like spoiled fruit. Jace whispered, "I think it's alive." The heartbeat stopped. A voice, deep, wet, vibrating like it came from lungs full of fluid, whispered, "You followed the trail." The creature dropped from the branches above us like a corpse falling from a noose. But it didn't land awkwardly. It landed almost gently, crouching. It was different now. The eye sockets were gone. In their place were 3 fresh eyes, one blue, one brown, one hazel, all blinking out of sync. Lena's, Noah's, and someone else's. Their eyes were alive inside it. The creature stood slowly, vertebrae cracking like someone bending a dry branch. Its limbs realigned, stretching longer as if absorbing someone's height. Muscles pulsed under its skin with each breath. Jace sobbed. The creature tilted its head and mimicked the sound perfectly. A wet, choking cry mixed with a rattling laugh. Then it struck. Its arm punched straight through Jace's back and out his chest. I heard ribs snap, a messy, sharp crack. Blood poured down its forearm in thick streams. Jace twitched violently as the creature pulled something out of him, something red and beating sluggishly. His heart. It pressed the heart against the open wound of the tree, the flesh inside the trunk wrapped around it, pulling it in like a mouth swallowing food. Jace collapsed in a soft, wet heap, eyes open, mouth trembling as if trying to speak even after death. I ran. I didn't think. I didn't breathe. I didn't look back. I burst out of the forest onto the highway hours later, shoes coated in blood and mud, and something else I don't want to think about. I made it to this motel, and for a few hours I thought I was safe. But the shower keeps turning on by itself. The drain gurgles like something breathing beneath it. The walls occasionally bulge outward, like something is leaning from the other side. Something scraped at my door earlier. Not knocking, dragging, long nails scratching gently, almost politely, as if trying to get my attention. A voice whispered through the wood. Not Noah, not Lena, not Jace. Something deeper. Something using their voices like borrowed tools. It said my name. Right now I can hear footsteps outside, slow, wet, heavy. Every step leaves a faint, sticky sound like someone pulling free from mud. The doorknob is moving. I'm not going to open it. If this message uploads, if anyone reads it, don't come looking for me. And if you ever see a red trail in the woods, no matter how curious you are, don't follow it.